An ordinary bike rider, poor, broke, and miserable man wants to marry me? God forbid.
Veronica shouted as she stared down at Ugochukwu with disgust. Ugochukwu, kneeling, begged as he continued to propose. Please, Veronica, marry me. I promise things will get better, he pleaded.
It is this gets better I have been hearing from my poor father. Till today, my mother is still struggling. I will not make the same mistake. Ugochukwu, go and hustle for money. When you make it and you still want me, then I can marry you. But until then, get out of my sight.
She backed. But Ugochukwu remained adamant, still kneeling. She hissed and walked away.
Ouch!
People in the open restaurant in Port Harcourt stared at Ugochukwu, who was completely embarrassed that his marriage proposal had been rejected so publicly. He was a 28-year-old graduate who had been unable to secure a white-collar job after graduation. Now, he did bike rides, popularly called Okada in Nigeria, just to make a living. He had been admiring Veronica, a young lady who owned a hair salon on the popular Rumola Road in Port Harcourt. He got to know her one morning when he picked her up and dropped her off at her salon shop. He was instantly mesmerized by her beauty. When they arrived at her destination, he had the boldness to ask for her number. "I beg, are you joking right now?" she had said with wide eyes and raised a brow. "A whole me, you, an Okada man, is asking me out on a date." Ugochukwu had smiled nervously, scratching the back of his head, and replied, "You'll be amazed at how I would take good care of you if you agree to go out with me. At least give me your number." Veronica had burst out into laughter. "Wonders shall never end," she said. But surprisingly, out of curiosity, she gave him her number. Over time, they became friends. Ugochukwu carried her to her shop every day on the bike, free of charge. He took her out on dates at popular suya and fish joints in Port Harcourt. Ugochukwu felt he had won her heart, so he decided to propose marriage, and Veronica disgraced him. Ugochukwu sat in his miserable one-bedroom apartment, feeling utterly stupid. All the money he had worked hard to earn as an Okada man, buying her gifts, taking her out to impress her, had all gone to waste. He remembered how he had suffered to put himself through school. His father had married 2 wives. His mother, being the first, was neglected, as his father loved his second wife and had completely forgotten about his first family. Ugochukwu, one of the neglected children, had struggled. He worked part-time as a security man to pay his school fees at Rivers State University, where he studied petrochemical engineering. After graduation, he applied for jobs, but to no avail. He almost secured one, but when it boiled down to him and one other candidate, the other candidate was selected. That was how hunger drove him to start the Okada riding hustle. At first, he was ashamed, especially when he saw some of his university classmates driving flashy cars with oil company logos, while he rode a rickety machine for a living. But he accepted reality and continued his Okada transport work. Then he saw Veronica. He fell madly in love. He believed they could build a future together, and so he worked longer hours just to earn more money and take her out. Now all of his efforts had ended in public disgrace. Ugochukwu spent many days indoors, too ashamed to go out. One day, he picked up his phone and scrolled through TikTok, hoping to distract himself and avoid slipping into depression. But when he saw a trending video, a clip, showing the exact moment he knelt down in that open restaurant and proposed to Veronica, and how she snubbed him. Apparently, someone had secretly recorded the incident and posted it online. Ugu was devastated. Then he made the mistake of going to the comment section of the TikTok video. He read savage comments. One commenter said, "Okada Romeo, rest abeg, no love for poor man." Another commenter typed, "Okada guy won't marry slay queen. Bros, they whine yourself." These nasty comments further plunged Ugochukwu into misery. He swore that once the little food in his small, miserable one-room apartment finished, He would rather die of hunger than face the humiliation of meeting his neighbors, who would most likely have seen the trending video on TikTok. However, fate had something in store for Ugochukwu. His phone rang. He picked up the call. A sweet, sultry female voice said,
Hello, am I speaking with Ugochukwu Emezwe?
Yes, this is Ugochukwu, he replied, his heart beginning to race. The voice continued.
You applied for a position as an assistant engineer at ABC Oil Company 2 years ago. Am I correct, sir?
Yes, please, Ugochukwu replied, now standing up, the phone almost falling from his hands.
Well, I am the new human resource manager, and the job position is open again. The new candidates I interviewed did not impress me. So while going through the archive, I saw your application. I want to notify you that if you are still interested in working with ABC Oil Company, I will schedule you for an interview.
I am still interested, ma'am, Ugochukwu shouted out of nervousness. Good, the voice said.
I will schedule you for an interview next week. My name is Becky, and I hope to see you soon.
She hung up. Ugochukwu was thrilled. 2 years ago, when he was rejected from this company, despite making it to the final 2 candidates, he was devastated. That rejection pushed him to become an Okada rider. Now, that same company was reaching out to him. He quickly dusted off his books, pulled up all the study materials he had, and began to read. He studied and prepared diligently for the interview, momentarily forgetting about Veronica and the humiliation she had served him. The following week, he received a text from Becky with the exact date of the interview. The D-Day came. Ugo was nervous. He had washed and ironed his one and only blue suit. The office, which had looked fabulous 2 years ago, had now been remodeled and looked even more sophisticated. The secretary ushered him in and directed him upstairs to a particular office to meet the HR manager, Mrs. Becky. He climbed the sleek stairway and stopped at a door that read, Human Resource, Mrs. Becky Anderson. He knocked. That familiar sultry voice he heard over the phone replied,
You can come in, please.
When Ugochukwu walked in, he saw Becky and was utterly blown away. She had an alluring goddess-like figure wrapped in a tailored red slim-fit suit. Her long hair cascaded down her back like a river of midnight silk. Her painted red lips shimmered perfectly, matching her outfit. Her glossy mouth glistened with each word. Her eyes, half sleepy yet sharply alert, scanned him like she already knew his story. Ugo had imagined she would be beautiful after hearing her voice over the phone, but nothing had prepared him for this kind of beauty. The interview began, and to his own surprise, he did so well. The written exam was done online, and the score was instant, 98 out of 100. Becky was visibly impressed. She leaned forward and said,
It is not professional of me to say this, since this is still the interview B, but I will do everything in my power to ensure the company gives you this job.
She confessed she had been researching old applicants and was impressed by his CV, and now he had impressed her again. Ugochukwu went home elated. 2 weeks later, he got the job. His starting salary was 3.5 million naira monthly, which is over $2,000. He was given a company car, a brand new Honda Civic. His life took a turn for the better in a twinkle of an eye. The day after she disgraced Ugochukwu with his marriage proposal, Veronica also had an embarrassing day of her own. Though she had walked out of the restaurant with confidence, she didn't enjoy the public attention at all. Some people booed her loudly as she left, and then the inevitable happened. A clip of the incident appeared online. She saw horrible comments directed at Ugochukwu for kneeling down to propose to a woman, and it hurt her because deep inside, Veronica liked Ugo. He was a handsome young man, but he was an Okada rider, a bike man for crying out loud. Veronica had worked hard as an apprentice to learn the hair salon business. She had sweated and saved and hustled. Now, she ran a successful salon on Rumola Road in Port Harcourt, a busy street filled with competitors springing up like weeds. The last thing she needed was a broke man dragging her back to the poverty she ran away from, all in the name of marriage. Veronica had known suffering. After secondary school, she couldn't proceed to university, even with the excellent results that could have gotten her into any higher institution. There was simply no money. She dropped out and enrolled to be a hair salon apprentice. She learned and worked for 8 tough years. Now, at the age of 26, life was just starting to look good. And then, a funny Okada man, whom she was only having fun with, following him out on a date to eat suya and shawarma, suddenly proposed to her. God forbid. The rejected marriage proposal video on TikTok went viral. Her regular customers rushed to her shop, pretending to get their hair done, but hungry for gist. She entertained them by mocking Ugochukwu, and they laughed. Many of her customers praised her. They told her, "Poverty is deadlier than the devil. Don't ever say yes to a poor man." The irony, however, was that most of those women giving her this advice were either married to broke men themselves or were single and miserably searching for just any man to marry them. But Veronica's confidence came from 2 different men. She had faith that at least one of them would marry her soon. That was why she rejected Ugo's open proposal. At 26, she was young, but not that young, especially as an African woman. She was secretly dating 2 different rich young men and praying one would propose soon. The first was Elechi, a mechanical engineer serving in one of the biggest oil companies in Rivers State. They had been seeing each other for over a year, and Veronica had high hopes. A week after the incident with Ugo, she was out on a date with Elechi when he suddenly cleared his throat. "So who is the guy that proposed to you?" Elechi asked casually, but clearly not joking. She laughed nervously and asked,
Which guy are you talking about?
Elechi opened his phone and showed her the trending video.
Oh, that foolish guy. Don't mind him. He's just an Okada rider.
She replied, rolling her eyes. "Is that why you said no to him?" Elechi asked again calmly.
I am in a relationship with you. How can I say yes to him?
Veronica asked rhetorically. Elechi's face went cold and he whispered, "I never said we were in a relationship." Veronica froze.
I don't understand what you are saying, Elechi. What do you mean? I thought I was your woman.
Elechi still looked at her with a deadpan expression. "Well, I can't control your thoughts, Veronica. If that's what you are thinking, stop wasting your time. You rejected that guy because he was broke. I know girls like you in this Port Harcourt, only chasing after rich men."
Elechi, what are you saying to me this evening? Are you drunk?
Veronica asked, her voice cracking. Elechi chuckled bitterly. "You are the one that is drunk. Drunk with greed and desperation." He paused, then added, "You must have squandered that poor man's money. He couldn't have just proposed out of the blue." Veronica leaned closer, whispering,
Elechi, my sweetheart.
"I am not your sweet anything," Elechi cut in sharply. "Whatever you think is going on between us is over." He stood up, dropped some money on the table for her to use and pay for their meal, and he walked away. That was the end of Elechi in her life. Desperate, just like Elechi said, Veronica quickly switched her attention to her second boyfriend, Amadi, a banker she had been dating for the past 6 months. She decided to visit him unannounced on a weekend. But when she got there, Amadi was strangely hostile at the door. "You didn't call before coming," he said coldly. "I am sorry," Veronica replied, forcing a smile.
Can I quickly use the toilet, please?
But Amadi stood firm, refusing to let her inside the house. Just then, a young pretty lady in a skimpy nightwear appeared at the door.
Amadi, darling, who are you talking with at the door?
The young pretty lady asked. That was when Veronica understood why Amadi didn't want to let her in. She left quietly. That was the end of Amadi in her life. In just few weeks after the Ugochukwu incident, she lost 2 rich boyfriends. Now she was single and desperately lonely than ever before. 6 months later, after he got gainfully employed, Ugochukwu was driving home from work in his sleek new Honda Civic. It was drizzling and the roads were a little wet. People were rushing to get home before the full rain came. That was when he spotted Veronica by the roadside. all alone, looking agitated as she tried to avoid getting soaked. Ugo slowed down and called out to her. She quickly jumped in, assuming a good Samaritan was offering her a ride. But once inside, she turned and froze.
Obuchukwu, is this you?
She asked, flabbergasted. No, it's my twin brother, Ugochukwu replied sarcastically. Seriously, Ugo, is this really you? I mean, you look good. And is this your car? Yes, it's my brand new Honda Civic, Ugo replied, pride glowing in his voice. Are you sure it's yours? She asked cautiously. Of course it is. Or is yours missing? He smirked. Then he added, unlike you, Veronica, a secondary school dropout, I got a job at ABC Oil. I am now one of the Port Harcourt's big boys. He laughed proudly. Veronica was dumbfounded. When he dropped her off, she insisted on getting his new number. She began calling him that same day, late at night. And to her surprise, he picked. She flirted shamelessly. She made herself cheap, showing up at his house to cook, clean, and wash his clothes.
Hey!
Her salon customers warned her to stop wasting her time, that he wouldn't marry her after she had publicly humiliated him. But Veronica was persistent in pursuing Ugo because she was afraid of being alone. 3 months later, something shocking happened. Ugo married her. It was a quiet wedding. Veronica felt she had hit the jackpot. But her joy was short-lived because from day one of the marriage, Ugochukwu treated her like garbage. He was arrogant and harsh, and when he got really angry, he beat her physically. He called her names: school dropout, useless wife, desperate beggar. He constantly accused her of cheating, which was untrue. In fact, Ugochukwu was the one cheating. He was sleeping with Mrs. Becky, the very HR manager who helped him get the job. Becky is married to a pilot who is always flying around the world. Leaving Becky all alone, which made her feel bored, especially with no children. She now took fancy to Ugochukwu, and he reciprocated. He saw it as his way of appreciating her for helping him secure a job. He made himself always available to warm her bed. People gossiped about the affair. Veronica's customers whispered, "Are you not aware that your husband is sleeping with Becky, the wife of that international pilot?" Veronica pretended not to know. But one day, she gathered courage and confronted her husband. It was the worst day of her life. Ugochukwu beat her black and blue for daring to question him. "So now you monitor me because you feed me, you low-life dropout," he barked at her.
I am sorry, please.
Veronica cried, her face swollen.
I just wanted to know the truth.
The truth? The truth is that you are nothing. And from now on, you will close that stupid salon permanently. I don't want a wife who sits and gossips with Port Harcourt market women. Veronica obeyed and closed down her salon business. She was desperate to make her marriage work out. But being a sit-at-home wife was hell. Ugo refused to give her upkeep money. She had to beg for money to buy toothpaste, cream, and even pad. And when she begged, he rarely responded. Some nights, when he comes home late, with lipstick stains on his shirt, she would see the lipstick stain and apologize.
Ugo, my love, I am sorry. I have been a bad wife. Maybe I am not satisfying you in bed.
Veronica would say to her husband, she was apologizing for being cheated on. That was the height of her desperation. Apologizing for her husband's infidelity was pure madness, but Veronica was afraid of living her life alone. She wanted a husband and was scared of loneliness. Ugochukwu took full advantage of this. He exploited and maltreated her. Meanwhile, Mr. Anderson, Becky's pilot husband, had secretly installed cameras in their home. Though always traveling, he was not blind. He had seen everything, including Ugochukwu sleeping with his wife right there on their matrimonial bed. Furious but calculating, he laid a trap. One day, when Ugo arrived at Becky's home for their usual enjoyment, police officers swarmed in and arrested him for theft. Mr. Anderson claimed that the $10,000 he left in his drawer was missing, and Ugochukwu was a thief. He gave Becky, his wife, a cold ultimatum: collaborate with this lie or be kicked out of their marriage. Becky complied with her husband and lied against Ugochukwu, saying that he sneaked in to rob her and take advantage of her loneliness. ABC Oil sacked Ugochukwu immediately. They couldn't keep someone with an open criminal case. Ugochukwu hired lawyers, but Mr. Anderson was too powerful and well-connected in Port Harcourt. Ugochukwu was sentenced to 8 years in prison. As he was being led out of the courtroom into the prison van, Veronica, in tears, pushed through the crowd as rain fell slowly. "Ugochukwu," she cried out. He turned and their eyes met. "I am sorry," she wept.
I am sorry, my love. I will wait for you, no matter how long it takes. I will wait for you. Ugo, please don't give up.
His lips trembled, and he said to her, "Veronica, I should be the one apologizing. You are the only person who stood by me in the end. I am sorry, my wife."
I love you, Ugo.
She cried out emotionally. "I love you too," he said, tears in his eyes as he was pushed into the prison van. And just like that, the vehicle doors slammed shut. The prison van drove away. And Veronica stood in the rain, alone again. In the end, the loneliness she feared didn't knock. It let itself in, calling her by name.